Good morning, Ananda. In this video class, we are going to discuss about class B type power amplifier, that is complementary and symmetric class B power amplifier. Okay, in the previous video lesson, we have discussed about the definition of class B power amplifier and the basic type class B power amplifier, that is transformer coupled class B power amplifier. Of course, earlier to this, we also discussed about class A power amplifier. In class A power amplifier, the main disadvantage is we achieved only 25% of efficiency. The DC power delivered to the load is only up to 25% or greater than 25, below 50%. That is the main disadvantage of class A power amplifier. So to overcome this, we go for the next one, class B power amplifier. In class B power amplifier, of course, we discussed the basic type class B power amplifier, that is push pull or transformer coupled push pull class B power amplifier, in which we used two transistors simultaneously. By the definition of class B power amplifier, it conducts only 180 degrees signal, that is half of the input signal. The input signal is complete signal, that is a sinusoidal wave, which consists of positive halves and negative halves. When this is applied to the class B push pull amplifier, the push pull amplifier consists of two transformers. One is connected at the input side and another one is connected at the output side, through which, that is transformer secondary, is connected to two transistors which are connected as shown in the figure, that is in the push pull structure. Transistor Q1, Q2 are used. The Q1 transistor's base is connected to the secondary winding, that is upper wire, and the lower wire is connected to the second transistor, that is Q2's base. Okay, whereas the center tapped connection is made to the transformer, which is connected to two emitters. Okay, two emitters which are tied together. Therefore, the input which is applied to the transistors, both the transistors Q1, Q2 are in phase reversion. Therefore, for positive half cycles, one transistor is on, and for the negative half cycle, another transistor will be on. Remaining is off. Therefore, this positive signal can be measured through Q1. The negative signal, negative half cycle signal, can be measured through Q2. Therefore, the complete signal will be appear. Okay, like this, the signal will be appear completely. By using this kind of circuit, it is push pull amplifier circuit, the amount of efficiency achieved is 275%, maybe approximately 78.5% ideal. Okay, that is calculated by substituting input power and output power in the efficiency calculated calculations equation. Okay. The only disadvantage with class B push-pull amplifier is transformers. Transformers occupies very large space and these transformers are expensive to purchase. These are having more cost. Therefore, of course, the advantage of transformer coupled push pull amplifier, class B amplifier, provides excellent impedance matching. But whereas the disadvantages are more, therefore we go for the next one, that is complementary and symmetry class B power amplifier, which is shown here. In this, instead of transformer, simply instead of transformer, simply we replaced two transistors with different materials or with different construction. That is, one transistor is NPN, made up of with NPN semiconductors, and another transistor with PNP. With this, with this structure, NPN means this is made up of with the emitter is made up of with N-type material. Whereas in PNP, the emitter and collector are made up of with P-type. Here also emitter and collector both are made up of with N-type. Therefore, the N-type is electrons, majority charge carriers are electrons, whereas in P-type is majority charge carriers are holes. Therefore, these will these two transistors will invert the signal, or this will be forward bias in one case. At the same time, these two will be in reverse bias. Okay, for biasing conditions, these two will be, these will give the inversion. These NPN and PNP will give inversion operation. Therefore, instead of using transformers, simply the transistors construction can be changed. Hence, the signal will be automatically revert and the full signal will be appear across the load resistance RL. Let us discuss the operation of this complementary and symmetry transistor, sorry, class B power amplifier. Here, the input is applied to this structure. So, how this is connected? This transistor is made up of with NPN transistor and this other transistor is made up of with PNP transistor. Okay. In NPN transistor, the emitter and collector both are made up of with N-type material. Whereas in PNP transistor, the emitter and collector are made up of with P-type material. Hence, the NPN transistor will be forward when this emitter and collector is connected to negative of the battery. Okay, whereas here in PNP transistor, the emitter and collector, these terminals are connected to positive to be forward bias when these two terminals are connected to uh, positive. Okay, when These two are connected in positive or negative with respect to NP and PNP. When the transistor gives the output, when the transistor gives the output, when the transistor in active region, or active region means when the input or emitter junction is in forward bias and collector junction is in reverse bias. In this condition only the transistor can be operated, or the transistor is in active region. When the transistor is in active region, then only it gives the output. Now let us see. During positive half cycle, the positive signal is applied to um, bases of two transistors. In this case, these two emitter and collector are made up of with n-type material. Hence, it should be connected to negative of the battery. Then only the transistor said to be forward bias. Sorry. Here, both the emitter and collector both are made up of with n-type material. Even though the collector is more negative than emitter. If the collector is connected to positive, then the collector is said to be in the reverse bias, and the other emitter is said to be in forward bias. Therefore, Q2 here, the first transistor is in said to be operated in active region, whereas other transistor. This other transistor now here the emitter and collector both are made up of with p-type material, but this n-type is more positive than collector is more positive than emitter. Therefore, here the collector is connected to negative, hence positive to negative. The collector is said to be forward bias. Therefore, the Q3 is in cutoff region or simply off state. During positive half cycle, the Q2 is in on state, whereas the Q3 is in off state. Therefore, the signal will flow through the Q2 because it is in active region or on state. That signal will flow through emitter because here the output is taken at emitter because it is a common collector amplifier. Okay, this signal can be measured across load resistance which is connected to the emitter and which is connected between emitter and ground. Okay, during the negative half cycle, since it is in forward bias, therefore this is in off state now because the negative signal is applied to the base. Therefore, the emitter becomes reverse bias. The collector becomes forward bias. In this case, the Q2 is in off state. Now, the Q3 will turn into on state. Since the Q3 is in on state, therefore the negative signal will flow through the PNP transistor. Okay. Now the input signal will flow through Q3 since it is in on state and can be measured across RL, that is load resistance. Now here with respect to waveforms, the input is like this. This is complete signal. The Q2 current, that is the transistor, first transistor is initially uh, on when the positive half cycle is applied. Therefore, that positive half cycle will can be appear across the load resistance. Okay. During negative half cycle, the Q2 becomes off and Q3 becomes on. Now the output will be appear across RL through Q3. This is so the output across load resistance RL appears like this. Positive half cycle. Combination of these two. But at a time only half cycle is appear. That only positive half cycle is appear across RL since it is called amplification. Okay. At each condition, that is during positive half cycle, one transistor is on, during negative half cycle other transistor is on. Therefore, at a time only one half cycle is amplified or appear across the load resistance. Therefore, this provides only half signal amplification, 180 degrees of conduction. Hence, it is comes under class B power amplifier, and it is simply made with respect to the changing the type of material used to construct the transistor instead of using transformers. It, hence, the advantage of this complementary and symmetric class B power amplifier is mainly it is low expensive. The cost is very low because simply it uses two transistors and one resistor, load resistor. This Q2, Q3 transistors and load resistance. Therefore, it consists of only three components. Hence, the cost is very low and it gives the complete operation which can be given by push pull amplifier. The same operation or the same output will be provided by this structure with compared to the push pull. So it occupies less area because there is no transformers and there is no other electronic components. Therefore, it is very cheap and uh, it occupies very less area. So nowadays, in order to design electronic device, it should occupy less area. Therefore, this complementary symmetry class B power amplifier can be used widely, and the efficiency of this complementary symmetry is same as the push pull amplifier, that is about 78.5 percentage efficiency will be provided, can be achieved. So in class B push pull amplifier, whatever the calculations we were calculated, that is efficiency calculations, percentage of efficiency is equal to eta is equal to PDC by PAC, or the output power by input power. So by substituting output power calculations and input power calculations, you will get the value is 78.5 percentage. Since the advantages are more by using complementary symmetry than push-pull amplifier with same efficiency. Hence, this is widely used power amplifier. The complementary symmetry uses two transistors. One is PNP and other is NPN. Q2 NPN and Q3 PNP transistor. Both are identical in nature and each is emitter follower circuit where emitter is connected each other. These two emitters are tied and which is connected to a load resistor. The load is connected to emitter as Q2 goes positive and Q3 goes negative and vice versa. During positive half cycle, Q2 goes positive or on state whereas the Q3 goes to off state. Similarly, during negative half cycle, Q2 goes off, Q3 goes on. Therefore, at each half cycle, the output can be measured across load resistor. The complete signal appears across load resistor. Plus VCC and minus VCC are applied as DC voltage to NPN and PNP transistors respectively to operate the transistors in active region. That is, this plus VCC minus VCC provides required bias voltage to operate the transistor in active region. Okay, this is about complementary symmetry uh, class B power amplifier. This is very important as per your examination point of view. This is very simple in construction. The advantages are very simple in construction, and the efficiency is 78.5 percentage, and it occupies very less area, and it is low cost, and the design is very simple. Whereas the disadvantages are compared to push pull amplifier, maybe impedance matching may not be achieved. Okay, this is the only disadvantage. Next one. Till now, we discussed about different types of power amplifier. As per as per our syllabus, uh, the power amplifiers based on the period of conduction. We discussed the definitions for four types. That is Class A power amplifier, Class B power amplifier, Class AB power amplifier, and Class C power amplifier. We have discussed the definition, or we have defined all the four types of power amplifiers. Class A, the period of conduction is 360 degrees. Class B, the period of conduction is only 180 degrees. Class AB, the period of conduction is in between 180 to 360 degrees, greater than 180 degrees and less than 360 degrees. Whereas in Class C is less than 180 degrees only, the period of conduction. But coming to the operation and construction and working principle of these four, we have, as per our syllabus, we have only two, Class A and Class B. There is no Class AB and Class C. Okay, let us conclude the power amplifiers. Class A and Class B we discussed. In Class A, two types we have discussed. That is series fed, or simply uh, the Class A power amplifier with resistive load. That is simple uh, common emitter amplifier with load resistance which is connected to the collector. So common emitter with load resistance, resistive load. With this, the efficiency is only up to 25 percentage. Next one, transformer coupled Class A power amplifier. This is also same. The efficiency is up to 25 percentage. Next, Class B. The types we have discussed are push pull, Class B power amplifier, and complementary symmetry, Class B power amplifier. Okay, in push pull we have used transformer coupling, whereas in complementary symmetry instead of transformer coupling. So there in the transformer we have taken the secondary is center tapped connection. So with that center tap, phase inversion can be achieved. Whereas in complementary symmetry, the phase inversion can be achieved by using NPN, two transistors with NPN and other is PNP. So NPN and PNP By using NPN and PNP, the phase inversion can be achieved. Okay. And push pull and complementary symmetry class B power amplifiers provides same efficiency, maybe that is about 78.5 percentage. Okay, now let us discuss the applications of power amplifiers. A power amplifier is an essential part in every electronic equipment. Okay, essential part means for each and every electronic equipment, the function of power amplifier is it should deliver the complete or total power it should deliver to the load. In almost all electronic audio systems, the last stage to be a power amplifier. Okay, means in multi-stage amplifiers, for example, an example is public addressing system. In the public addressing system, uh, the mouth or speaker, sorry, mouth, that is microphone, is the input device, whereas the loudspeaker is the output device. In between microphone and loudspeaker, there are several amplifiers can be coupled or cascaded. Okay, in this, from the microphone to last stage will be the voltage amplifier. If, for example, 10 stages are connected, from the microphone to last loudspeaker is increased, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. If 10 stages are used, up to ninth stage will be the voltage amplifier, whereas the 10th stage, that is the last stage before the loudspeaker, should be a power amplifier stage. This is very important point. At that last stage, the need of the last stage is the amount of power to be delivered to the loudspeaker, that is output device, should be high enough. Okay. Therefore, the last stage must be a power amplifier stage. Audio frequency power amplifiers are also used for amplifying signal before modulated in the transmitter for better modulation index. Generally, the modulation index should be 1. In the communication, the modulation index should be 1. The modulation index can be defined as the AD by something else. Okay, this gain calculations can be performed in the modulation, that is communication. Okay, so the last stage to be transmitted at the loudspeaker, the last stage must be a power amplifier with modulation index is 1. Better modulation means it should be equal to 1. The maximum value should be 1. If it is 1, then the maximum power will be delivered. 100% power will be delivered. Whereas, as we discussed only up to class B power amplifier, it delivers the power, the amount of power delivered to the load is only 78.5 percentage. The 100% cannot be achieved. Therefore, the modulation index must be with 0.78. The audio frequency power amplifiers are used as output stages in the audio equipment such as radio receivers. Okay, in communication, the radio receivers, tape recorders. The tape recorders also loudspeaker will be there. The tape recorders, TV receivers. Okay, public addressing systems. Okay, in almost all communication system where the audio frequency applications are used, the last stage must be a power amplifier stage. For example, radio receivers, tape recorders, TV receivers, public addressing systems, stereo systems, sound system in cinema theaters, etc. In all these systems, the last stage must be a power amplifier because all these are an examples for audio frequency amplifiers. Okay, radio receiver, that is where the FM or AM radio, the tape recorders, this is also a public addressing system. TV receiver, the TV is also gives the audio frequency signal. Public addressing system, stereo system, sound system in cinema theaters. All these are examples for audio frequency applications. Therefore, in almost all audio frequency amplifiers, the last stage must be a power amplifier stage. Audio frequency power amplifiers are used in telephone circuits, repeater circuits, telephone circuits and repeater circuits. These telephone circuits repeater. These two are an example for communication. That is phone communication, mobile communication. That is telephone communications. In this is also an example for audio. Therefore, the last stage must be a power amplifier. The radio frequency power amplifiers are used at the output of broadcast transmitters for feeding large power to the antenna. Okay, in radio frequency power amplifiers are also used at the output of broadcast transmitters for feeding large power to the antenna. Radio transmitters, TV transmitters, radar transmitters, satellite transmitters, etc. Okay, in this communication, the radio frequency power amplifiers can also be used in which it is used for large power delivered to the antenna, that is at the output stage. The power amplifiers are also used in industrial electronic equipment, medical electronic equipment, industrial electronics, and generally the industrial electronics applications generally where the amplifier stages are used. The last must be a power amplifier. Medical electronic equipments like ECG, etc. In this also, the last stage, the power, the amount of power to be delivered to the load must be high. Okay, let us summarize. The power amplifiers are used in almost all electronic equipments in communication systems such as in telephones. Let us discuss about an important topic, that is heat sinks. The necessity of heat sinks in power transistors and power ICs. What is thermal runaway in transistors? How to prevent thermal runaway? List different types of power transistors and power ICs and their heat sinks. Actually, what is thermal runaway? As we discussed in the earlier classes, that is about thermal runaway. The concept of thermal runaway is when the transistor is in reverse bias, or when the reverse bias is applied to the junction, what will happen? There will be the junction width will be increases due to attraction of opposite polarity, with respect to the battery. Therefore, the junction mm, at the junction, the gap will be increased. Hence, there will not be any chance of flow of current through the junction. At the same time, due to majority charge carriers, there is no chance of flow of current. But at the same time, due to minority charge carriers concentration, there may be a chance of damage at the junction or breakdown at the junction. So this occurs due to the negative or reverse bias at the junction. Therefore, when the reverse bias voltage increases, the minority charge carriers will increase. Sorry, uh, when the reverse bias voltage increases, these uh, semiconductor materials are sensitive to the temperature. Therefore, the temperature at the junction may also increases, due to which the minority charge carriers will increases due to temperature. Therefore, this repeats by going on increasing the reverse bias voltage, reverse bias voltage. Therefore, by going on increase, there may be a chance of breakdown due to the minority charge carriers multiplication. This process or this phenomena is called thermal runaway. Okay. Generally, the thermal runaway occurs due to the temperature effect. Due to increase in temperature, the transistor may lose its original functionality. The properties of transistor may be lost due to the thermal runaway. Therefore, this may be happen in power transistors also. The power transistors or power amplified transistors deals with high powers. Okay. Therefore, the power transistors and power ICs have to deliver large power to the load. This causes collector junction temperature to rise to a dangerous level. The effect is cumulative, that is addition. This effect is additive and it may lead to destruction of a transistor due to the temperature. This phenomena is known as thermal runaway of a transistor. What phenomena? When the large power is delivered to the load, this causes collector junction temperature to be increased, and the cumulative effect of this temperature leads to destruction of the transistor. It may lose its uh, original properties of the transistor, given transistor. Therefore, it leads to destruction. This phenomena is called thermal runaway. Transistor can be seriously affected by temperature. The most temperature sensitive quantities are the base emitter voltage, that is input voltage, the collector base reverse saturation current. This is due to the reverse bias voltage. Beta of the transistor. Beta is the gain, current gain of the transistor. So these three will be mostly affected. So whenever these values are changed, then the operating point will be changes. When the operating point changes, this transistor will not give faithful amplification. The output is unstable. Therefore, this is not a good sign. Therefore, in order to overcome this, we have to use a heat sink. Need of heat sink. The temperature at collector base junction of a power transistor places a limit on power dissipation. A junction temperature of 150 to 200 degrees centigrade will destroy the transistor. The heat produced at the junction passes through casing of transistor or IC and, and radiates into surrounding area. Temperature of the air in surroundings is called ambient temperature. One way of cooling this device, that is transistor, is by increasing the surface area of the device. Heat will deliver more easily into the surroundings. Okay, we can increase the size or the surface area of the device so that the heat will be delivered easily to the surroundings. This is achieved by using heat sinks. So let us define the heat sink. Heat sink is generally a large finned black metallic heat conducting device placed in close contact with transistor or IC. Okay, it is a metallic heat conducting device which is placed in close contact with the transistor is called heat sink. As we know, the transistor is generating the heat now due to the thermal runaway process. Okay, since the transistor, that is power amplifier, deals with large powers, therefore it delivers a large amount of power. So during which maybe temperature is generated. That temperature generated in the junction or in the transistor to be transferred to the surroundings. If the transistor size is low, there may be a chance of destruction due to the high temperatures. Therefore, if we increase the size of the transistor, then the heat may be easily radiates to the surroundings. This is one way. Heat sink of transistor increases the area from which heat is to be transferred to the atmosphere. Heat moves from transistor to the heat sink by conduction. By this conduction process, heat which is generated in the transistor can be easily moved to the atmosphere. Heat is removed from heat sink by convection and radiation process. For transistors handling small signals, the power dissipated and collected is small. So the transistors have little chances of thermal runaway, where for small signal amplifiers. The power transistors and power ICs deliver large power to the load. Hence, heat sink is necessary. Because of high power, there may be a chance of temperature rise in temperature. So this temperature is to be radiate or transmit to the surroundings. Therefore, in that case, heat sink is necessary. Maximum efficiency, the heat sink should be in good thermal contact with the transistor case. Okay, the contact with transistor to be in good, and the contact should be good with the case. Be painted black. If it is painted black, then the temperature is easily transmitted. Have largest possible surface area. The surface area must be high. be mounted in a position such that free air can flow. Okay, the airflow should be free to this transistor where it is mounted on the heatsink. Okay, let us summarize. The thermal overload occurs when the internal power dissipation becomes excessive and the temperature of device exceeds certain value. Heat sinks must be used in all power transistors, power ICs and regular ICs. Next, let us discuss about different types of heat sinks and mounting methods. How can we place the transistor on the heat sink? Let us recap. A heat sink is a black metallic thermal conducting device placed in close contact with the body of the transistor. It is black in color, corrugated for large surface area. The corrugations on a heat sink serve to increase its surface area and efficiently transfer heat from sink to the air around it. Okay, the above structure, this heat sink is push-on type heat sink. This heat sink is used for low power transistors. This is the next one, heat sink for high power transistors. Here some of the types of heat sinks. The path of the heat flow is from the junction to the case, then from case to sink, and finally from sink to air. The shape and size of heat sink depends on the heat that is to radiate in air. Okay, the types of heat sinks here. Uh, there are four types of heat sinks. That is first one, push-on type heat sink, push-on fin type heat sink. In this, the transistor placed into a heat sink as constructed as shown in figure A. Let us see. This is A. This is push-on fin type heat sink. Next, this is B. This collector is case. Collector is used as a case and power tap type transistor. Next, last one. This is for large power applications. Push-on type. In this, the transistor is placed into a heat sink as constructed as shown. Means the transistor should be keep inside the push-on type structure. The heat generated in the transistor will deliver to the environment through this structure. It is used for low power applications. The round casing of package of T001, T005, T0105, T0106. Next one, cooling fins with flat heat sinks, that is collector case. Here the case is used as collector instead of terminal. It is used for medium and high power transistor applications. The popular mounting packages are T003, T066. Next one, flat or metal tab type heat sink. There is a tab is used through which the transistor, if any heat is generated through tab, the heat will be transmitted to the surroundings easily. Last one, for large power applications, a metal type heatsink is used where the transistor can be placed mounted onto it. Therefore, for which more number of holes are provided through which air is easily flow through these holes so that the transistor will be cool immediately because of the transfer of heat to the environment is easily through these holes. Okay, these are basic four types of heat sinks. Those are push-on type, pin type, flat type, metal tap type, and large power type. Okay, with this, let us stop here. Uh, we'll discuss the remaining things in the next class. Okay, till now we have discussed about complementary symmetry type, class B push-pull amplifier, advantages and disadvantages, and efficiency. Next, the applications of power amplifiers, and next, the necessary of heat sink, and next, the types of heat sinks. Thank you for listening my video lesson. Thank you. If any doubts, mail me at naar37@gmail.com. Nar37@gmail.com.